Alright, everybody. Today we're back to Piers Morgan challenges Alex Jones. Well, I never watched this, so we're gonna see what happens. And my take on Alex Jones, I think he's a pretty cool guy. You know, he can be a little extreme, but I think he's just a cool guy. You know, he speaks of what's on his mind, and he doesn't really care. So, yeah. But without further ado, like, subscribe. Let's do it.
Anything goes. Free speech.
Man, takes him a whole 2 minutes to speak. Wow.
Okay, Alex. Good evening to you.
Piers, it's good to be here with you after 10 years and the biggest news event on CNN in 2013. Wow. So the circle is now complete. But you just spent 8 minutes saying a lot of things that were true, a lot of things that weren't true. So I'd like to address that right now if I can. When I came on your show months and months after Sandy Hook, in the CNN studios in New York, I never said it didn't happen. I never sent people to their houses. When the internet went totally viral in the next year, questioning it with anomalies, I did cover 23 minutes, is what they introduced in court, over the next few years, a few times. We're talking 5-6 shows. What the internet was questioning on my call-in radio show with a document cam on air. But I did not build my career off Sandy Hook. I barely, not even 1/10% covered it. And so to say that I sent people to harass families or
I didn't say that.
peed on the graves of the children.
I didn't say that.
Uh-oh.
I didn't say you sent anyone to do anything. No, Alex, look, I want to have a reasonable. Let me just say, I want to have a reasonable conversation. I don't want to get into the screaming match that descended into last time. I think that's futile of everyone watching. You are now a very infamous person around the world. You know that. A lot of people know about you, what they've read, most of it negative. This is your chance to explain what's happened and to...
Well, I don't know why Piers always does this. He always interrupts people. It's like it's uncensored, but it's not really uncensored, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but... You can comment below. Maybe I'm crazy, bro.
If you want to, express remorse for things that you've got wrong and done wrong. You find yourself in a very bad place right now. You're facing paying out potentially $1.5 billion to these families. You've said that you don't have that money. You can't pay that money. So far, you haven't paid any of the money. How do you feel, first of all, about the fact that you faced this gigantic victory for the families and defeat for you?
Wow.
Okay, so you did 8 minutes and 45 seconds attacking me. I got 30 seconds. I will answer your question in a moment, but I want to get something completely straight.
Okay.
I came on your show months and months and months and months after it happened. I blamed the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, the antidepressants. I blamed the mother getting them the gun on your show. So the claim that I first questioned Sandy Hook, or I first did it, was a bunch of professors and a bunch of media people. Became a huge story. I looked at it and said, yeah, we've seen WMDs in Iraq. We've seen Operation Northwoods. We see Jussie Smollett.
That's true.
Later, we see now admitted in the Twitter files that they had thousands of fake doctors online saying the shot was safe and effective and protected you, something you've come out and said was wrong and was a lie. So I always questioned every major event, but I did not make my bones on Sandy Hook. I barely covered it on your...
and I do believe him, since I have heard of Alex Jones after Sandy Hook. I don't know where it took place, but I have heard of him, and all the stuff I heard of him was not on Sandy Hook. It was on other stuff like Flat Earth or 9/11, but never on Sandy Hook. This is like my first time ever listening to Sandy Hook, so I think he is telling the truth here.
Your show... months and months and months after it happened.
Here's what I would say to you.
Cover it long.
Here's what I would say to you.
After.
Listen, I don't. You may well categorize this as a very small part of your career. Unfortunately for you, it's now become this gigantic part of your career because of the nature of this payout. So
that's totally true. So let me respond to your question.
Is simply to ask you, what did you feel about the size of the payout you've been ordered to pay, and the fact that you suffered one of the biggest losses of any lawsuit of that nature?
What type of question is that?
That's a weird
question.
Well, I mean, it's not one of the biggest; it's the biggest. And so if you actually want the inside baseball and know what actually went on, I'm really happy to tell you.
Well, I'm more interested in how you. I'm more interested, Alex, in how you built this empire, and I'm going to come to how you built it in a moment. You built this empire as a very provocative Many would argue they found you very entertaining as well, high energy, mischief-making shock jock, for want of a better phrase, who went on the airwaves and said a lot of very controversial things and built up a very big following and made a vast amount of money doing it. You wouldn't dispute any of that. Right? That's not attacking you. That's just a statement of fact.
So listen, but I'm happy to come on, but you've had 90% of the talk time. So can I just have 10%?
Alex, it is my show. I just want you to answer.
Oh, I get it.
You
Well, you can say what you want about
I understand.
All right, guys, it's his show, so you can't talk.
I don't want to have a confrontational interview. I simply want to ask you, as I say, you've built this big empire, and now the entire empire has been imperiled by losing this lawsuit. And you wouldn't dispute that.
No. I have more than 15 offers right now on huge networks if my system goes under. Let me just explain something to you. Let's talk facts, okay?
All right, let's go.
Here's a timeline of 10 and a half years or 10 years, 2 months since Sandy Hook. It happens the first year. I don't think it's staged. It becomes a huge internet thing that it's staged. I have a few debates. I have a few guests on. I cover it. I said, yeah, it could be staged. So much stuff is staged. Then I go 2+ years, 2015 into 16, never discussing it. This all came out in the lawsuit. And then they run against Trump. Hillary runs $30 million of TV ads showing edited clips of me saying synthetic event never happened. And then Trump still wins. And we now learned after the lawsuits, they hired a high-powered New York think tank PR firm to then make it a huge story. Tens of thousands of articles, thousands of newscasts about me in 2016, 17 about Sandy Hook.
Yeah, the other is the fact I heard him around 2017, but around that time when Hillary was pretty big.
I go, whoa, those anomalies I heard from those professors and people were wrong. I think it happened. Nobody sued me. Go on Joe Rogan, apologize, do a whole apology tour, because I wasn't sophisticated back then. I'm like, yeah, I think it happened. I barely covered it. Then they sue me once I apologize. They have a judge in Texas, in Austin, is as liberal as San Francisco, and in Connecticut, sue me. Then I give them all my text, all my documents, which they show in court, but say I gave them no documents. They default me. First time in modern U.S. history. I'm found guilty by judges, and juries then have hearings on how guilty I am. Then they have a false.
And I haven't watched the court video, so I can't neither confirm or deny it, but we'll see.
Financial expert get up and say I'm worth $400 million. At the time they.
I don't think he's worth not even close to that.
Did that 6 months ago in that hearing in Texas, in that kangaroo operation, I had like $3 million in the bank.
Well, you say okay. Let me. All right. Let me.
But see, hold on, Piers.
You can't just keep.
Here comes Piers
talking, Alex. Let me just explain to you what I think.
Oh, God forbid I get a third of the time you get.
Well, you know what? It's my show. It's the way it works. On your show, you get 90% of the time on your show. If I was a guest on your show,
you don't want to. I'm just telling you, Piers.
I just want to have a normal debate.
Real discussion.
Let's have a normal debate. I want to play you a clip. This is a clip of one of the parents from Sandy Hook. Because you've talked about this at length now. Nicole Hockley. And I want to talk after this clip. I want you to just listen to what she had to say to me recently on the show.
What is Piers trying to do?
He did his first broadcast saying that he thought this was a false flag when I was still in the firehouse and I didn't even know if my child was alive or dead yet. He started off within 2.5 hours of the shooting and has kept putting out video after video for year after year after year, and calling us all crisis actors, calling our children, either that they were never killed or they were never alive in the first place, that we're traitors, that we're treasonous, and that we're government shills. It's been very difficult. It's been easy to turn off some of it, but some of these people have been incredibly dangerous. And when he stokes this anger in his base, this fear, and then incites them to action by saying, we need to investigate this, you need to look into this more, they come at us. So part of it's just social media comments, which can be damaging. It's defaming. It's hurting your reputation. People, I don't know if I'm walking around who thinks I'm real and who thinks I'm an actress. It's damaging to my son's memory in terms of his life, his short 6-year-old life. It's damaging to my surviving son because I don't know what he's going to deal with going forward. But it's also scared the living daylights out of me. I sleep with weapons by my bedside. I've received death threats. I've received harassing calls and mail. I've had people send me pictures of dead children because they say, as a crisis actor, you have no idea what a dead child looks like. So let me send you this picture so you can see it. This is stuff that has really not only just been distressing, it's disturbing. And in terms of security, you know, I'm just a mom. I'm just trying to look after my surviving son, run my organization, and make some good in the world. I didn't choose to be part of this. Alex Jones chose to tell lies knowing that they were lies, and continuing to harbor that lie and make it happen for his own profit.
So I let that play. I didn't talk too much so you guys can understand her side. Now we're going to see if Alex Jones can speak on his side.
What's your reaction to that woman who lost her son Dylan at Sandy Hook?
Total garbage. Never said her name. Only person's name I said was Robbie Parker. 30-something million views on YouTube. He was laughing. Everything suddenly started
crying.
So
your response to that woman's incredibly powerful,
so you're going to give me 5 seconds?
Account.
Well, this isn't
how can your first response be
Piers.
total garbage?
This is, well, I guess I can't do this interview. People have to go to Infowars.com later, and I'll respond to you. You're not letting me talk. I never said her name. Under Connecticut and Texas law, you can't sue somebody for defamation if you never said their name. I didn't do any of those things. I was on your show months and months after it happened and said it happened and said it was Prozac. I looked at both of the views, and they clipped that out to attach themselves to me on air. I never talked about that woman. I didn't even know who she was.
You said it was a hoax, Alex. You said it was a hoax. You said it was phony as a $3 bill. You said the entire...
I don't like Piers does this. He's not letting him talk. I don't know why.
Thing is a giant hoax.
I thought
members of the White House has been running the fake Bin Laden raid. People just know there's a lot of fraud going on. You've got.
Here's what I'm going to say to you, Piers.
Wait a second, Alex.
Piers, let me talk for 5 seconds.
Let me finish.
You sent me a list of topics.
Let me finish.
You sent me a list of topics.
Oh.
I'm going to come to those.
I said I'd come on, and one of them.
Let's see the topics. Let me zoom in a little bit.
Is Sandy Hook. I'm on for an hour. Let's talk about the Davos group.
Yes.
Let's talk about the war in Ukraine. Let's talk about internet censorship. Let's talk about the vaccine.
I feel like talking about Sandy Hook, so they have way more to talk about. Can't read it too much, but that's definitely more.
They don't need to talk about other topics because they're attacked. They live off me. I didn't make money off Sandy Hook.
They don't live off you.
They got $73 million from Remington. They live off Sandy Hook. I don't.
Okay. Here's what I would say to you. Maybe one of the reasons that they have a problem with you and what you did is that you were saying on air things like you've got parents laughing, ha ha ha. Then they walk over to the camera and go boo hoo hoo. And not just one, but a bunch of parents doing this. And then photos of kids that are still alive, they say dead. I mean, they think we're so dumb. These were parents who were in,
told you
these were parents in the grip of unbelievable trauma.
I was kind of myself.
Yeah, listen. And Madeleine Albright, Secretary of State under Clinton, was asked by Leslie Stahl in 60 Minutes that Clinton tripled sanctions on Iraq to kill 2 million people, 500,000 children. She said it was a good thing to do. She'd do it again. I didn't kill 500,000 children. I question all these events because...
That is true. I'm pretty sure he was the one... I'm pretty sure he didn't kill no children.
Many of them are provocateur.
I understand that, but I also understand the
what about all the kids dying from the poisoned shots?
Let me just...
That's true.
What about the CDC admitting it causes myocarditis heart attacks?
Here's the problem, Alex. The problem is...
if I deserve to die...
Let the man speak. He can't let him speak at all.
For questioning...
This is embarrassing for Piers Morgan. This is not how you conduct an interview at all. This is
mass shooting. Then what happens to the big companies that sold these poison shots that weren't approved and weren't safe and didn't
protect?
Here's
my question.
What happens to them while you're... I'm the worst guy in the world.
Alex.
So Piers, hold on. I'm the worst guy in the world, right?
I didn't say that.
Listen, I told them in a deposition that...
I don't know why... I don't know why Piers Morgan... Sorry, I don't know why Piers Morgan keep trying to act like Alex was the one who killed all those people. He was just questioning it. Now, you probably shouldn't question something of that, tragedy. It was a tragedy, and that is messed up. I'm questioning it. But this is an opinion, It's just an opinion. It's not like he was the one who was out here shooting the children, You're just questioning it.
When this went on, and I started questioning it like 9 years ago, about a year after, when I said false flag, I believe they may have protected him. They may have known it was coming. Like Uvalde, 75 minutes the police stood down. I believe that was a real shooter. Real kids died. In Florida, at Parkland, there was a stand down. Why the police chief said, well, he thought he'd already killed all the kids. so he didn't want more death. That was in the news. That was in the Dallas Morning News yesterday. I'm questioning Parkland, saying, did they let it happen? That's a false flag. To say a false flag doesn't mean the parents are fake. I apologized on Joe Rogan before I was sued. I apologized on dozens of shows when they brought this up in 2016.
All right, but here's my question. Here's my question.
And then they went on the news and said I was currently sending people to their houses. Where is the video of me saying go to their houses?
Alex,
where is the video of me pissing on their graves?
Alex,
it's not true.
No.
They're raising money on my name.
Alex, let me respond. I want to just try and get inside your head for a moment and see whether you have...
I'm so shocked we're not talking about all the other topics that was on Piers Morgan's... what was it?
Ever
What's it called? Paper.
fully comprehended
Joe Biden
the scale of what happened to these families, because as things stand, I believe 20% of Americans, 1 in 5, believe that mass shootings like Sandy Hook are staged.
I know where you got his stats from.
A lot of that is down to somebody like you with your huge following, which you built up, consistently suggesting they're staged, including Sandy Hook. This is what happened to some of the families, okay? Erica Lafferty, whose mother was killed, has had to move 5 times since the shooting and avoids going to the grocery store because people tell her
they say
it was a... Well,
they didn't show any evidence. The judges found me guilty.
I'll ask you a question.
The judges found me guilty. That's
Alex,
illegal.
I know. Let me just finish. She said it got scary and more graphic. Things would be mailed to her house that were threats of rape.
The 500,000 dead Iraqis?
Jennifer Hensel and Jeremy Rickman, parents of 6-year-old Aviel, who was killed, set up a foundation for their daughter. Soon after, email addresses attached to the foundation...
What about the cops killed by Black Lives Matter?
Let me finish. We're flooded with messages saying Aviel didn't exist. That Hensel and others were actors and questioned why money was being raised from a fake shooting. In 2019, Jeremy Rickman, Aviel's father, killed himself. Friends called Hensel his wife, Jennifer.
My question is, how is this all Alex Jones' fault? I mean, again, I haven't looked into Sandy Hook, so maybe, I haven't done my research, but it is like guilt tripping, I was trying to make him feel bad, but he was the one who got the gun and shoot up the children. He was just questioning it. Maybe I'm wrong. You can put in the comments if you're wrong, but I don't know. I think Piers is trying to guilt trip
people were at the cemetery where Aviel was buried looking for evidence that her husband had actually died. David Wheeler, the father of 6-year-old Ben Wheeler, who died at Sandy Hook, detailed 2 instances in which people actually showed up at his home demanding to see Ben, insisting he was alive. He said people also pointed to a student film he made in college as proof he was a crisis actor. Robbie and Alyssa Parker, and you did mention Robbie Parker, who I interviewed many times and felt a deep affinity with, and you said he was laughing after his poor little girl was killed. But she said that Alyssa, his wife, said that the vicious comments on the memorial Facebook page honouring her daughter were so terrifying she couldn't remember much of her daughter's funeral. Mark Banston, the lawyer representing the Sandy Hook families, said there were people threatening to kill us.
You said one of your topics was Sandy Hook. Here's the deal. They showed no
Still haven't talked about any of the topics yet.
Proof of that in court. The judge didn't let me defend myself.
Okay.
You just
Alex,
want to sit here and talk about Sandy Hook.
I want to
move on to other topics.
My question is simply this.
I'm presuming that they would still talk about Sandy Hook and all the other topics. That's crazy. I mean, that's just messed up. We need to talk about other topics. This is a full-blown interview.
When you hear about the impact on these poor families whose children, aged 6, were blown to pieces in a school, when you hear about the impact, do you have any real regret or remorse about fueling this idea that it was staged and hoaxed and they were comic actors?
You let me talk at all? Adam Lanza killed those children, not me. A Democratic Party PR firm looked at Trump, looked at me in 2016.
That wasn't my question.
Brought up Sandy Hook.
That wasn't my question.
I'm going to explain to you again. I'm going to say it again. The media took what I said out of context.
They didn't.
Years later, magnified it.
Maybe they did. I mean, the media does like to do that.
Finish. To make a political hit point on me and on Trump, and they blew it all up and then said I was doing it. They have no proof I was sitting by their houses. I didn't. I a few times questioned it on air. I became super famous.
You said it was a hoax and a fake.
To me. They've raised hundreds of millions in donations, $73 million from Remington. Now they're coming after the First Amendment. It's insane. And I told you I'd come on and briefly talk about Sandy Hook. You sent a whole list of topics. Now,
wow, we're still ain't talking about the topics yet.
I want you to be true to your word and not a deceptive person, Piers. We have spent 24 minutes on Sandy Hook. I want to move on to the Davos group.
I just want you to answer the question first before we move on.
Uh-oh.
Do you feel when you hear these accounts of what happened to these families, do you feel a sense of personal regret and remorse that your actions on air, inspired a lot of people to think these people were actors and their kids didn't really die? Do you feel genuine remorse?
You let me talk for any? 500,000 Iraqi children starved to death.
No, that's not the question.
Albright did it on purpose. No. I feel way less. No, I legitimately question Sandy Hook, and I stand by what I did.
You said it was a fake and a hoax.
You let me finish? Attach themselves to me to raise money and to claim I'm doing things to them I didn't do, to raise money and to try to take over my life, and no, I don't. I apologized before they sued me if I ever hurt anybody's feelings, and I'm supposed to apologize forever and ever in some communist struggle session.
I just asked you whether you feel regret and remorse. I asked you whether you feel regret and remorse for fueling this belief that
I don't know what the other topics are even about. So
Sandy Hook was staged
Sandy Hook, I guess,
and fake. That's the only question I asked you.
When you give an apology, which I've given over 150 times, you're done with the apology. Type in Alex Jones apologizes for Sandy Hook. You'll have it before they sued me, so I'll point you to that. You're so good at all your clips, but no, I'm not going to come back on your show in 10 years and you'll say, do you now apologize? If I sat here and slit my throat on air, it wouldn't be enough for you. I legitimately question mass events because of things like Operation Northwoods that called for staging mass shootings that didn't occur in the United States. Look it up, ABC News, Operation Northwoods. I came on here, Piers, to have a real discussion with you and ask for money. Imagine the biggest settlement ever, fentanyl, settlements for OxyContin, settlements that have killed millions of people, and this settlement is
especially in the black community
way bigger. And they say Jones refuses to pay. I don't have $5 million, much less $1.5 billion. So when they say I refuse to pay, if I have 3 gallons of blood in my body, and they say we want 1,000 gallons, I don't have 1,000 gallons of blood.
We're going to take a short commercial break, Alex. We'll come back and we will talk about other things after the break. Well, welcome back. Alex Jones is still with me. Alex, we'll move on to other things. I looked at the InfoWars website tonight. You were leading several hours ago, actually, on the story which I addressed at the top of the show, which is about this ludicrous idea that the word field is racist. I'm sure there are a number of things like that on which we
I can't stand when they do that.
We have an agreement. But I also found a piece on your website near the top today, which said the following: falsehoods have far-reaching costs in livelihoods and lives. Lack of integrity and conflicts of interest have led to an unprecedented institutional false information pandemic. There is nothing that dispels false narratives better than personal inquiry and critical thinking. So the next time conflicted institutions cry woeful wolf or vicious variant or whatever it is, we need to think twice. So a very strong worded piece there about the danger of falsehoods. Do you agree with that?
Well, let me answer your question and we'll finish up the Sandy Hook thing. I wish that I wasn't misled by some of those professors and people that thought that it was staged. It was a very small part of what I did. I tried to apologize. I tried to settle. I tried to make restitution. And then they misrepresented. When I was in the Texas trial, you can look at this, they had one of the mothers on who lost her son. And I went on my show that morning and taped it before I went to court. And I said, I think she's real. I think her son died. I'd seen her testimony the day before. And I'm very sorry that Adam Lanza did this. And then she went on the stand and said, Jones attacked me and said I'm an actress. It's all fake today. Wow. And I walked over to her during the break and I said, watch my show from today. Your lawyers lied to you. And the next day she came up and cried and shook my hand. And Scarlett Lewis and said, oh my God, it's true. I saw you did say that. So there's a lot of manipulation here. Look, I didn't do this consciously. I think their children died. But I think you're being manipulated by groups. I wish I never would have said it. We do have to have guidelines. I have messed up a lot in my life, Piers. And listen, that's what I said, a love-hate relationship with you, and I sent you an audio message yesterday. I watched the intro to your show, and I was like, man, I wish I was as good as this guy. Because I covered the same stuff today, but the way you brought up them saying the word America is bad, and the way you pointed out that it's not by itself, that it's a cult that wants to grow language, I was like, that guy's a master of really understanding this attack on our freedom. And I wish he knew that I was a real guy, and I'm just learning.
The difference, Alex, honestly, the difference between us, I would say, is this. I have always strived, not always successfully, but I've always strived in my career to put a premium on accuracy and facts. Because I think without that, you have nothing. I would argue, and this is your chance to dispel this notion, that over the years, you have deliberately and systematically used conspiracy theories, which I suspect you know are not true, to fuel interest in a large number of people who then go and buy your products, which you sell, which are a massive part of your business and have made you hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm going to give you some examples collectively, so let me just read them out.
Hold on, everybody has sponsored
I'll give you a chance to respond when I read them. But this is
everybody and their grandma has a sponsor or something.
You said on air, right? In 2017, you had to apologize after promoting the infamous Pizzagate fake story that a Washington pizza restaurant was the locale of a child sex abuse ring run by Hillary Clinton and her campaign chairman. After 9/11, you called it an inside job perpetrated by the US government. You said that chemicals in the water, which are put there by the government, are turning frogs gay.
I'm pretty sure that's actually true. I think it's called atrazine. I've done a little research on that, but I'm pretty sure that is true.
A gay bomb. You said Michelle Obama is a man. In a 12-minute video, you analysed footage of photographs proving that Mrs. Obama has a penis. You said that Robert Mueller, the former FBI director who investigated Trump's Russia ties, which turned out to be a fake story,
Can we hold on?
Was
can
a
we
demonic.
Take each one of these in a,
was a demonic pedophile, and said that's a demon I will take down or die trying. He's obviously not a pedophile, and so on. So here's my point, Alex. Are you there? You keep flashing up your info. You don't need to promote InfoWars. We all know about it.
Listen, what I'm trying to tell you is
on the front.
But no, this is. I literally did not expect this at all. I'm just watching. I thought it'd be like an interview, talk about maybe conspiracy theories, but I didn't even let them talk. So I don't know. I mean, if Alex's watching this, you can hop on my show, man. You can hop on my show. You can speak how long you want.
Page
you
of
make all these
InfoWars,
charges,
Alex,
and I can't respond.
Let me ask you the question I'm about to ask you. I read a piece on InfoWars all about the danger of falsehoods, right? The cost to livelihoods and lives, the problem with lack of integrity and a false information pandemic. Your website is promoting that thinking, that it's wrong to have false information put out there. And yet the guy behind the website making all the money is the guy saying all this stuff, which is obviously complete nonsense.
I'm pretty sure the frogs and atrazine were true.
My point, Alex,
talk now?
You know it's nonsense. Don't you?
You're scared to let me talk.
Your chance to respond.
No, I don't know it's nonsense. And if you took your time through all those points you just raised, I can back every one of them. There are more than 1,000 university studies from England to Australia to South Africa to Mexico to Austin, Texas, that atrazine is literally making male frogs gay. They don't want to have sex with female frogs, and their populations are plummeting and even becoming extinct. Boom. Then 9/11, I don't think radical Islam doesn't exist. There were criminal elements in our government that it came out even in the hearings that stood down and did nothing. So you rattle off.
9/11 was not an inside job.
Wait, he never said that. He said that there were some stuff that were pretty wrong, but he never said it was an inside job. I think he's putting words inside his mouth. That's not true.
Obama is not a man. Robert Mueller is not a demonic pedophile.
Let me talk about Michelle Obama.
And in Pizzagate, Hillary Clinton didn't run a child abuse ring from a pizza restaurant.
Let me talk about Big Mike.
Alex Jones, is he praying or something?
These are all ridiculous lies. Here's the point, Alex. You're not a stupid man.
You just repeated him again.
You're not a stupid man.
I'm going to talk over you then.
You know these things.
If you don't let me talk, I'm going to talk over you. Let me talk. It was.
I'm so surprised that they won't let Alex Jones talk. That is kind of crazy.
That is a transcript you have. I was playing a clip of Joan Rivers 2 months before she died with fire exploding out of her mouth in a surgery. She said, Michelle Obama is a tranny. Everybody knows that we already have a gay president. And I was quoting what she said, and I was...
Did she say that? Thing is, I don't really know. I just watched it. This is my first time watching it, so...
questioning what people were saying. That's Joan Rivers. Now, let's move on. What was the other one? What was the other one you were saying?
Robert Mueller is a demonic pedophile.
Robert Mueller is definitely okay. Let's talk about Pizzagate. I didn't generate Pizzagate. It was in the WikiLeaks documents. A whole bunch of Aleister Crowley.
You apologize because you promoted that conspiracy theory too.
No.
Here's my point, Alex. I don't think you really believe any of these things. I think you realized early on in your life that there was a lot of money to be made from fueling conspiracy theories, and you have made a ton of money from it.
I said Jeffrey Epstein 13 years ago.
I remember that. I remember when he said that. Now, not 13 years ago, if I wasn't born then, but one of the good things I heard of Alex Jones that he did predict Jeffrey Epstein was going crazy.
Island of the Caribbean with kidnapped children. I said the Nexium cult was branding people 5 years before it broke. No, I had the sources and I had the guts. I lost viewers saying Sandy Hook might have been staged. I lost some of my reporters. That is not true, what you're saying. I don't sit there and think of a story I'm going to say. I've got too many stories here. And then say, oh, I'm going to lie about this thing. I said Jussie Smollett. Despite the fact I was already sued by Sandy Hook, I said the day after it, before anybody else, I said, I think it's staged. I think at 2:30 in the morning, 22 below zero in Chicago.
I thought it stunk
black
too.
Guys walking around.
But here's my point, Alex. Again, here's my point to you. Here's my question for you.
Believe it.
You are a smart enough person. From interviews I've seen of you with Joe Rogan for 3 hours, you're more than smart enough to do a show where you genuinely examine stories like Jussie Smollett.
I'm pretty sure he does that.
Ask the right questions as a journalist would do. But I don't think you are a journalist. And you're not saying you're not a trained journalist, but you don't come at it like a journalist. You come at it as a commercial operator who's made a fortune from fueling conspiracy theories which are ludicrous. And to a point,
let me respond to that. You've said that lie. You've said that lie 5 times.
I think Alex Jones forgot you can't talk when Piers Morgan is talking.
Piers, you had me here. Let me respond.
And we still haven't talked about all the other topics. That's just
each lie you spew.
Let me finish.
Your goal is to spew lies.
Let me finish.
I'm going to tell you again.
I'm not a big Alex Jones guy, but he is probably winning this debate.
I'm going to tell you again. I'm not against capitalism, and the people earn money normally and naturally. That's great. If I sell $70 million of food and supplements and books and films, and we make $20 million off that.
I don't know what's the problem with selling this, what he said, food, supplements, books. I don't know what's the problem with that.
And I pay my crew and my bandwidth to pay myself a couple $1 million a year. That is accurate. But the idea that I have billions of dollars and the idea that I did these
I don't think you've made billions of dollars. I think you've made several $100 million, and some of the products included very false claims about diet supplements and toothpaste, which could be used to fight coronavirus. And you were sent to cease and desist.
All I said is that silver on contact kills all viruses just like sunlight. And I said vitamin D3 is an antiviral and vitamin C is, and it's a fact. And I also said, Piers, that the studies they'd already done with mRNA vaccines showed they didn't protect you and they erase your immune system, and you've had to apologize.
Well, actually, no, just to clarify, they do protect you from coronavirus. The difference was that a year into the pandemic, it emerged that the initial feeling that if you had the vaccine, you couldn't transmit it, turned out to be wrong. But they do protect you. They do protect you. And in fact,
Hey, Piers,
millions of people,
you and others are going to
I forgot Piers can let people talk.
Are alive today because they took the vaccine.
You're going to stand in Nuremberg 2. You're going to stand in Nuremberg 2. Did you get money from Big Pharma?
No, I didn't get any money.
All these other media people?
We're going to take, listen, the vaccines work.
Did you get money?
The vaccines work,
like CNN
and they saved
pushing Prozac?
Millions of lives. However, let's take a short break. I want to come back with our final segment. And I want to ask you one last question in the final segment.
There's a lot of studies showing that the vaccine does increase rates for heart attacks and other illnesses. So I'm not saying you want to die if you take it, but there is a lot of stuff proving that the vaccine has some side effects that are not normal to other vaccines.
Welcome back to my final segment with Alex Jones. Alex, on January the 6th, the infamous January the 6th, you stood there winding the crowns up by saying, we declare 1776 against the New World Order. We need to understand we're under attack. We need to understand this is 21st century warfare and get on a war footing. And within several hours, that's exactly what thousands of people did. They went down from hearing you say that and Donald Trump saying what he said, and they launched an unprecedented attack on the Capitol, the very center of democracy in America. Do you regret now what you said at that speech?
No, I don't. I'd had rallies with over 1 million people, 500,000 people. Before that, it's an information war, Infowars.com. We're in an information war.
That's true.
We were there to have a 10-day investigation of the Constitution. The Democrats have done it before, just a few years before, to look at what was happening. We were there peaceful. And then, Piers, I tried to stop people and did keep thousands from going into the Capitol, and I've been cleared in the January 6th. Look at the Reuters article by the FBI.
Just to be clear, do you denounce those who use violence that day?
Yes, I denounce Ray-ups telling...
Of course. You would denounce people who use violence. I don't know what type of question is that.
The congressional committee that he orchestrated the attack, and I tried to stop the provocateurs in that operation from breaking in. We had 1 million people there. They tricked 1,000 or so to go in. A few hundred provocateurs broke through the police, similar to what we're seeing in Brazil. And so I'm on record there that day telling people don't go in the building and trying to stop it. When I say 1776, I'm saying try to take our guns, 1776. Try to take our free speech, 1776. It means political rebellion. It means an awakening. It means saying no.
Has one of the lessons that you've learned from this lawsuit with the Sandy Hook families, has one of the lessons been that actually truth matters? Have you learned that? Do you believe
that is a weird question
now that you need to focus on saying things which are true because consequences can be very serious?
You keep trying to act like it was a big part of what I've covered or that I made mistakes on purpose. The whole currency I operate in is the truth. And we're accurate 95% of the time. I made big mistakes. And when I make mistakes, we absolutely admit to it. I think you've done that yourself sometime. So here's the deal. Maybe in 10 years, you're still alive, I'm alive, I'm back on. You'll say, will you apologize now? I apologize if I cause any pain. I've already done it. It only makes them more rabid and attack more and misrepresent. I went on my show during the trial and said, I love you. I think you're real. I'm so sorry for your child. They went on the stand and said, I attacked him that day. That's all on record. And so
the problem is the
political movement.
Alex,
they've
the problem
raised
is
hundreds of millions of dollars off their dead kids.
The problem is you did make millions of dollars from their dead kids. It's one of the reasons Elon
I did
Musk.
Not.
It's one of the reasons.
I highly doubt that. No offense, Piers, but I highly doubt that.
There was no marketing.
It's the reason.
You know what I make millions of dollars off of?
It's
my
the
number
reason,
one book.
It's the reason. It's the reason Elon. Right. The reason Elon Musk has refused to let you back on Twitter is he won't let people on who trade off dead children. That's exactly what you did.
So Madeleine Albright kills 500,000, says she did on purpose.
About
she's
you,
good.
not Madeleine
Alex
Albright.
Jones questions a mass shooting. I get it. I'm the worst guy in the world.
I didn't say
the whole
that.
Dying corporate media is good.
I didn't say that.
Alex Jones is bad, but here's the thing. Infowars.com lives. People can come to my show every day, 11 a.m. Central, and they can hear what I'm actually saying, Piers, versus what you're trying to put in my mouth.
Actually, all I'm putting into your mouth are things that have come out of your mouth.
No, you don't have footage of me saying go harass them at their houses. You don't have footage of me saying piss on their graves.
I covered the Sandy Hook
You don't have any of that. You have what lawyers gave you.
All I know is for all your posturing
on the truthinfowars.com.
When those poor families
don't let Piers
were going through the most excruciating pain of their lives, you took a massive amount of fuel and you poured it on the bonfire
about other events.
It's about the end already? Wow, so it's shorter than his other interviews, and also he still hasn't talked about any of the topics yet. So this is just, no offense to Piers, this is utterly embarrassing. I mean, this is just
pain.
What about the Davos
That is the bottom line with you, Alex. You deliberately spun a pack of lies designed to make the families of Sandy Hook suffer worse pain.
What about the fentanyl?
And that, I'm afraid, for all your shouting and all your blather is utterly contemptible. And we both,
hey, you're never going to get our First Amendment. And I'm glad you had to move back to England to live under your Islamic takeover and when they're arresting people for being against transgenderism.
You once again
freedom,
losing the plot, so now I have to say goodbye. But it's been good to catch up.
You said
Thanks,
we come
Alex
on.
Jones. Appreciate it.
Then don't be a liar.
Alex Jones, nothing's really changed other than in the last 10 years or so he carried on exploiting particularly the families of Sandy Hook for massive personal financial gain. He systematically tells conspiracy theories which I know he knows are not true. And he does it because it makes him tons of money. And he's
never heard of him before?
But now they called his bluff. They sued him. And the families won $1.5 billion. And he may not have that, but we have to give a lot of money to them.
Piers Morgan.
And that's what Alex Jones is about. He's a guy who spews conspiracy theories to make money and doesn't care about the consequences.
Wow.
And finally,
this is Piers Morgan. So embarrassing. This is the end. Wow, this is utterly embarrassing for Piers Morgan. Couldn't let Alex Jones speak. Didn't even talk about the topics on the paper. I mean, this is embarrassing, and I think for the most part, if you check the comments, people will probably agree with me. Yeah, if you agree with me. So it is embarrassing. If Piers Morgan wants to invite me to the show or anything to that, I would gladly join. Also, if Alex Jones wants to invite me to the show, I would gladly join, since I'm trying to learn. So he seems like a pretty cool guy, and watch his interview to see, okay, what is this guy about? And I could even, it's all like, you killed the children, which he hasn't. So I don't know what he's trying to say, but yeah, I mean, if Alex Jones is watching this, or anybody who is close to Alex Jones, I would be honored to be on InfoWars and talk to Alex Jones to see what he's really all about, and stuff I agree with on, and stuff I don't agree with him on. But without further ado, make sure you like and subscribe. And Alex Jones is inviting me to InfoWars. Come on, you need to do that. I don't know what you're doing, Alex Jones. Some of friends, but you need to invite me to InfoWars. But thank you guys for watching this, and catch you later.